Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech and this is the comparison between OPPO F7 and the Vivo V9. So these are the phones. I have the OPPO F7 in the red color and the V9 in the black color. Now before we dive into the comparison, let's have a quick look at some basic information. Both phones are sold offline in retail stores and online on all popular e-commerce sites like Amazon, Flipkart, Paytm and so on. Now Vivo V9 is sold at 23,000 rupees and it's available in 3 colors: pearl black, champagne gold and sapphire blue. You will see the blue variant in few weeks. Now OPPO F7 is sold in two variants. Base variant is priced at 22,000 rupees for 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage, and the next variant is priced at 27,000 rupees for 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. Now the base variant of F7 is available in 3 colors: solar red, that's this one, moonlight silver and diamond black. Top end variant is available only in 2 colors, that's the solar red and diamond black. Now that was the basic information. Now let's have a quick look at the design and build of both the phones. Now let's start with Vivo V9. So this is the Vivo V9 and as you can see, it has a plastic build with a super glossy finish. And as you can see, it's a fingerprint magnet and it's super slippery. But thankfully we do get this case free inside the box, which adds a bit of grip. Now this is the OPPO F7. Even this phone has a plastic build with a glossy finish on the back. But unlike the V9, it has a 2.5D curved glass on the back. On the front, both the displays are protected by a 2.5D Corning Gorilla Glass. On OPPO, it's Corning Gorilla Glass 5, and on Vivo, we're not sure about the name. Now that's not all. Both phones also get a free tempered glass pre-applied right out of the box. And if you can see, there are a lot of scratches on the display along with too many fingerprints. So the phone is definitely a fingerprint magnet on the front and the back. I wish the company had added oleophobic coating on the front and back. Anyway, build on both phones is pretty good. Now let's talk about design. Now as you can see, OPPO has a flat design and Vivo has a curved design. So when you hold both phones in the hand, Vivo feels much more sleeker and comfortable to hold than OPPO F7. By the way, Vivo has a thickness of 7.89 mm and weighs 150 grams. On the other hand, OPPO has a thickness of 7.8 mm and weighs 158 grams. But because of the design on the back, Vivo feels much more sleeker and lighter. So on the whole, build is pretty good on both the phones, but in terms of design, I definitely like Vivo. By the way, buttons on both the phones are pretty good. They have a nice tactile feel to them, but the volume buttons on OPPO are slightly hard to press. Now let's have a quick physical overview of both the phones. Now both phones have the display on the front, obviously, with a notch at the top. On the left side we have the F7 and on the right side we have the V9. So at the top, both have the front-facing camera, earpiece and sensors, but on the V9, it also has a LED notification light, which is missing on OPPO. Now at the bottom, it's completely plain on both the phones. We have on-screen navigation buttons on both phones, and both phones support navigation gestures like the iPhone X. Now on the back, OPPO has a single camera, single LED flash, followed by the fingerprint scanner and OPPO branding. Vivo has a dual camera setup with a single LED flash, fingerprint scanner and Vivo branding. Now at the top, it's completely plain on both the phones. On the right side, Vivo has the power and volume buttons, and on the left side, it has a SIM card tray. On OPPO, it has a SIM card tray and power button on the right side and volume buttons on the left side. At the bottom, both phones have a mono speaker grill, micro USB charging port, microphone hole and the 3.5mm audio jack. So that's the design of both the phones, and as I've already said, build is pretty good on both phones, but in terms of design, I like Vivo. Now there is something I really forgot to mention, that's the durability. Now Vivo has this plastic back panel with a super glossy finish. Yes, it does look super fancy, but over time you might see scratches on the edges. Now with OPPO, it has a glass back and the probability of it breaking is more higher, but it won't get scratched easily, at least not as easily as Vivo. By the way, cameras on both phones have a camera bump, but it isn't all that huge. And if you use the free case provided in the box, they do provide some kind of protection for the camera module. Now with all that said, let's dive into the hardware section. Now both phones come with all the basic sensors including compass, gyroscope, FM radio, fingerprint scanner and face unlock feature. Vivo just has an additional LED notification light at the top, which OPPO is missing. Now coming to the fingerprint scanner on both phones, it is super fast. Definitely as fast as any flagship out there. Now coming to the face unlock feature, on Vivo it is fast, but on OPPO it is super fast. Noticeably faster than Vivo. Now this is the SIM card tray of both phones. They house 2 nano SIM slots and a dedicated SD card slot. So once again, it's a tie even here. Both phones support dual SIM with VoLTE. I have tried Jio and Airtel networks on both phones and I didn't have any issues with call quality or signal reception. So guys, in the hardware department, both are equally good, but I'll pick OPPO F7 as the winner because of the super fast face unlock feature. Now coming to the display, both phones sport a similar IPS display with the new 19:9 aspect ratio with a display notch at the top with Full HD Plus resolution. Vivo V9 sports a 6.3-inch display while the OPPO F7 sports a 6.23-inch display. Now displays on both phones are pretty good. There isn't anything to complain about the picture quality of both phones. But if you look closely, you can see that the bezels on the F7 are slightly larger than V9. So when compared side by side, it looks like you get a much better screen to body ratio with the V9. So that's an advantage with the V9. Now coming to the software features related to the display, both phones offer features like night mode, double tap to wake and screen gestures to open applications quickly. Now besides that, on Vivo, applications don't open in full screen mode by default. So for the first time when you watch videos on YouTube or play any games, you can see two black borders on either side. To remove that or use the application in the full screen mode, you need to tweak some settings in the display settings. Now coming to OPPO, whenever you open the application for the first time, if it can be opened in the full screen mode, you'll get a prompt asking you to open it in the full screen mode, which is really handy. So right out of the box, most of the applications open in the full screen mode on OPPO. Now that's not a big deal, but it's something nice OPPO has done which Vivo failed to do. Now that's not all. On OPPO F7, while watching videos or playing games in the landscape mode, you can swipe down near the notch to get some additional options. On the left side we have the quick actions like taking a screenshot, recording screen, blocking notifications, and on the right side we have quick applications like Messenger, WhatsApp and so on, which open up in a floating window. Now once again, these aren't all that fancy features, but OPPO is trying to do something new with the extra space near the notch, while on Vivo it's nothing more than a status bar. So on the whole, in the display department, V9 definitely looks better because of the smaller bezels and more screen to body ratio, but OPPO F7 offers us more features to take complete advantage of the screen. Now coming to the split screen mode, which is a feature that allows us to use two applications at the same time, on Vivo, only few applications support this feature, while on OPPO, almost all the applications support this feature. So once again on OPPO, you can take complete advantage of the screen. You can use any two applications side by side, which is once again missing on Vivo. So guys, in the display department, you can pick the winner based on your preference. But I personally like the features on OPPO, especially the option to use split screen mode for all applications. Now coming to the camera department, I've already made a dedicated camera comparison video. Check that out for more information. I'll leave a link for that in the description. Now for a quick summary, Vivo V9 sports a dual camera setup on the rear with a 16 megapixel primary camera and a 5 megapixel camera for depth sensing and a single 24 megapixel front facing camera. OPPO F7 has a single 16 megapixel camera on the rear and a single 25 megapixel camera on the front. Now these are some sample shots. Both phones support auto HDR for both the front and rear cameras, but images shot on OPPO F7 look way better than Vivo. Especially the dynamic range looks insane. Colors on OPPO looks a bit more saturated, but they look very pleasing. On Vivo, images are close to reality. On the whole, rear cameras are definitely better on the OPPO F7. Even the capturing speeds are super fast on OPPO even while taking HDR images, while Vivo takes like a second. Now coming to selfies, here are the sample shots, and once again, even in very harsh lighting conditions, OPPO has done a much better job than Vivo. Both phones support portrait mode for the front and rear cameras. Rear camera portrait shots are better on Vivo, especially the edge detection, because of the dual camera setup. But portrait selfies once again look better on OPPO. Now coming to video recording, we can record video in 4K resolution using the front and rear cameras on Vivo, but we can only do that in 1080p on OPPO. Both phones lack stabilization, so the footage is shaky on both phones. Now coming to the footage quality, once again I like the footage from OPPO on both the front and rear cameras. So on the whole, cameras are definitely better on OPPO. Vivo has a slight edge when it comes to rear camera portrait shots and 4K video recording, which I don't think is a huge deal. Now coming to the performance, Vivo V9 sports a Snapdragon 626 processor with Adreno 506 GPU. OPPO F7 sports a MediaTek Helio P60 processor with Mali G72 MP3 GPU. These are the Antutu and Geekbench scores. Just like with the benchmark scores, actual day-to-day performance will be much better on OPPO. For more information, check out my speed test between OPPO F7 and Vivo V9. Link will be in the description. Software optimization is good on both phones, and both phones are very responsive. But at the end of the day, OPPO F7 is definitely faster than Vivo V9. Now coming to the gaming performance, I have played all the heavy titles on both phones and I didn't face any major issues, so you can consider this round as a tie. Now coming to the heating issues, in my intensive heat test, Vivo V9 reached a maximum of 50 degrees when I took pictures continuously for 5 minutes. OPPO reached 49 degrees in the same test. Now these numbers might seem very high, but that's like the worst case scenario and there was no fan or AC in the room. So that might not happen to you. Now because of the plastic builds on both phones, even if the phone gets all that hot, it will cool down quickly. So once again, you can consider this round as a tie. Now coming to the software department, both phones are running a custom skinned version of Android based on Android 8.1 Oreo. On OPPO, it's called as ColorOS 5.0 and on Vivo, it's called FunTouchOS 4.0. Both phones are having the latest security patch and both phones receive regular security updates. Now coming to the software features, both phones offer some similar features like clone apps, double tap to wake, screen gestures, night mode, scheduled power on and power off. Now besides that, Vivo offers you a lot more features than OPPO. OPPO offers limited set of features, but they are much more useful than Vivo. I have already made dedicated videos on best features of Vivo and OPPO, so check those videos for more information about all the features both phones has to offer. Now coming back to the software optimization has been done better on OPPO. Even the memory management was better on OPPO. Vivo still tries to copy the iPhone. It still has the notification toggles that pop up from the bottom. Now OPPO has moved on. It has the notification toggles at the top like every other Android phone and it looks pretty good. So on the whole, in the software department, I'll definitely pick OPPO F7 as the winner for good memory management and supporting split screen mode for all the applications. Now coming to the audio department, both phones come with the audio jack and the speaker at the bottom. Audio experience on headset is pretty average on both phones and speakers on both phones are loud enough for media consumption. So I'll call it a tie in the audio department. Now coming to the battery section, which is probably the most important thing for you, OPPO F7 sports a 3400 mAh battery and Vivo V9 sports a 3260 mAh battery. Both phones come with a micro USB charging port, a regular 10W power adapter, and both phones do not support fast charging. Both phones take about 2 hours to charge the phone completely and you get around 5 to 6 hours of screen on time on both phones. So in the battery department, it's almost a tie, but OPPO F7 does slightly better because of the bigger battery and its processor is built using the 12nm architecture, so it's more power efficient than the processor on V9. So guys, to conclude, both phones look pretty similar, offer very similar set of features with very few key differences. Now if you're a normal user who doesn't care a lot about performance or the best cameras but want a phone that feels light and sleek, then go with Vivo V9. If you're someone who wants better performance, super fast face unlock feature, better cameras, slightly better battery life, and are willing to compromise in terms of weight and how thick the phone feels, then go with the OPPO F7. Now if it was me or if you want my suggestion, I'll definitely suggest you to go with the OPPO F7. It won't look and feel as good as the V9, but in the long run, on normal day-to-day usage or while you're taking pictures, you will definitely appreciate OPPO F7. So guys, out of these two phones, which phone do you like and why? Do let me know by commenting below this video, and if you're planning to buy either of these phones, use the link in the description. It really helps the channel. If you want us to make any specific video, tweet out to us with the hashtag ASKGREEDYTECH on Twitter and we will try to make it as soon as possible. I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech signing off. Have a nice day.